Back to the show, everybody. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly, the show that we bring you each and every week on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe bell notification button. As you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly is the show that we go through all the Premier League results for the weekend and we categorise them into the good, the bad, and the ugly. So with that, let's get into this. Some amazing results at the weekend. A real weekend defined by penalties. And crazy refereeing decisions, some really poor refereeing this weekend, and so obvious some of it, but let's get into the results anyway. We started out with Friday, Brentford 2, Watford 1. Dennis getting the goal for Watford, Janssen and Mbuemo with a late penalty in the 95th minute, stealing the points from Brentford for Thomas Frank. Absolutely fantastic result for them. Saturday, Man City 1, Wolves 0. Madness from Jimenez, if you can remember. Sterling with the penalty, Jimenez sent off. The first yellow looked a bit iffy, and we'll get into that. But the second one, absolutely stupidity from the player. And Wolves were bang slapping this game, so a real mess up there from Jimenez, letting his team down. Arsenal 3, Southampton 0. Lacazette, Odegaard and Gabriel, two fantastic headers, and Lacazette's goal. In terms of Arsenal, they didn't miss Aubameyang at all, really, and we will get into that. But in terms of Lacazette's goal, it's as good a team goal as you'll see in the Premier League. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Chelsea 3, Leeds 2, Mount with the goals and Jorginho with 2 penalties. Rafinha with a penalty as well, and Gerrard with a goal. The young lad coming on and scoring a fantastic goal against Chelsea. Not sure what Rafinha was thinking for the tackle, and certainly not sure what Click was thinking when he came on in terms of just kicking Rudiger in the calf. And then things got a little bit heated at the game. There was a coming together of both teams. Be interesting to see if the FA takes a look at that or if it was in the referee's report. We shall see. Liverpool 1, Aston Villa 0. Penalty from Mo Salah. Really a game of two halves. Liverpool totally dominant in the first half, but just couldn't get it away and score the goals. Second half, Mo Salah gets taken down by Tyrone Mings. Slots the penalty home, as Salah always does. But then Aston Villa grew into the game. Stevie made the changes. It was emotional for him coming back and for us at Anfield, on top of giving Ray Kennedy a good send-off who passed away. But once he brought on Ings and once he brought on Buendia, it became a very different game, and Liverpool had to weather a bit of a storm there for about 10-15 minutes. The evening game, Norwich 0, Manchester United 1, the half-5 kickoff. Again, a late penalty from Ronaldo. I don't know what Max Aarons was thinking, grabbing Ronaldo and pulling him down. Gave the referee no choice really to make on that one. We moved on to Sunday. Brighton was postponed against Tottenham. Obviously, Tottenham with a massive COVID outbreak at the moment, so their games are postponed at the minute. The European game midweek as well was postponed as well. Burnley 0, West Ham 0, and that was the first 2 o'clock, so I'm not getting off to a good start there. Then we had Leicester 4, Newcastle 0. Eddie Howe back in trouble again, but Brendan Rodgers back on the winning scene. 2 goals from Tillemans, a goal from Patson Daka, and James Maddison, who was back to his brilliant best, back in form. So good to see Leicester back on the winning trail there again. And then Palace came out and put everything to the sword with a 3-1 win, the half for the Super Sunday game. Conor Gallagher, what else can we say about this boy? We talk about him on the podcast all the time. With 2 goals, one an absolute fantastic strike after a little bit of stupidity from Seamus Coleman and a bit of petulance in sending the ball out there. Drops to Gallagher and he absolutely buries it. Tompkins with the other goal and Rondon with the goal for Everton. Rafa in serious trouble, and we'll get into talking about that during the show. Let us know your thoughts in the comments as well, folks. Let us know what you thought of the results at the weekend, how your team did, how you think things are shaping up going into a very busy festive period. But let's get into this. The good. I put Arsenal into the good, after kind of a dodgy 10 minutes where Southampton seemed like they were in and up for a bit of a game. The Lacazette goal was absolutely sublime. In terms of an overall team goal, was absolutely brilliant, and 2 excellent headers from Gabriel and Odegaard. Aubameyang was dropped over an internal discipline issue. I think they were trying to say, first of all, it was a health thing or something like that, and then apparently pictures were posted and he was out getting a tattoo or something like that. This guy is just petulant, you know what I mean? And the change he's made there, he's really testing the resolve of Arteta. And for a guy who's on that type of money and supposed to be a club captain, it's embarrassing for the club, really, the way he's carrying on. Brentford with a late penalty to grab the points, 95th minute, but well deserved with the shift they put in. Thomas Frank back to winning ways. Next up, Man United. That's going to be an interesting one. Now, we're hearing that fixture may or may not go ahead because we're hearing of a COVID outbreak at Manchester United as well. So it remains to be seen if that goes ahead. In terms of the bad, Norwich go in there after such a good performance to lose the way they did. I mean, Max Aarons, what were you thinking? You cost your team the result there, you know, an absolute stupid thing to do. We also put Wolves in there this week. Raul Jimenez, another moment of madness. Really, really unlucky with the first yellow card. I thought it was a really, really good tackle. And when I look back at it as well, I thought maybe VAR could have looked at that. It was really stupid because he came in across the side and he didn't really do a whole lot. And if anything, the other player put his arm across him and put him down. So I thought he was really unlucky with the first yellow. But the ref had been handing out yellows as well. I think Cancelo shortly before that had gotten carded. So I think it was more a balancing act than that. And that's. But then he gets up. What is he thinking? Like 3 yards away from the free kick or less. And he just throws his leg out and blocks it, giving the ref no option but to send him off. And then he has the stupidity to clap the fans walking off. I just thought that was really stupid and in bad taste. He literally cost Wolves the game. Wolves were banging this game. They were matching Man City like for like and player for player. And then how Wolves even held out after that to keep it to 1-0 with a penalty. I mean, Man City just played within themselves, really, you know. Chelsea I put in the bad this week again, although they won, and it's very unusual for a team that wins to end up in the bad. But they still seem to be leaking goals, you know. And, you know, Leeds were very unlucky not to leave the bridge with something, you know. And Tuchel has a lot of work to do at the moment there, trying to figure out what's going on. I mean, obviously they're missing a number of key players, and some of the players that are stepping in are not quite up to the level of what's missing. And I think with Rudiger as well, he needs to look at that situation as well. There's a lot of talk coming out this week that he's been offered 400 grand a week at various different clubs. And it's just, is his mind turned? Is his head turned? Darren mentioned on a Premier League preview as well that, you know, maybe Chelsea are getting a little complacent in terms of their thinking of themselves at the moment, a step above themselves. And maybe they need to be brought back down to earth a little bit through the manager and stuff like that. And whether Rudiger, he seems to be a loose cannon, you know, that kind of way. I know he was badly caught out of position for the goal that the young lad came on and scored. He was racing back and stuff like that. But he seems to vacate his position sometimes, leaving him a little bit exposed. And that would be a concern for Thomas Tuchel, you know. And also a lot of these contracts, you see these contracts at the moment, they need to be sorted out as well. And that can create a little bit of little problems at the club and stuff like that. And then obviously Kante being out is a huge loss in the midfield. Although Jorginho stepped up and scored the 2 penalties. Southampton with a poor performance against the Gunners, literally rolled over on the slide, now down to 16th in the table. Another couple of poor results and the governor could be heading to the job centre. Ralph Hasenhüttl really needs to get a handle on this, and he really needs to spend a few bob, I think, in January, because I think they're short of goals at the moment. And while leaking goals as well is not a good formula for staying in the league. And that needs to be addressed very, very quickly, or the governor will find himself heading back to the walking dead, looking for a job, basically, you know. On the ugly, Everton in serious trouble, there's no doubt about it. I mean, Rafa, he's on the edge. The only thing we can say is, will Rafa survive all the way till January in order to spend a few bob? Losing Calvert-Lewin, the boy Alan was out as well. Andre Gomez picked up a knock. But they look all over the place at the moment. I mean, you've Seamus Coleman. You could see his frustration and his petulance coming out yesterday, and he's normally a Admiral Pro, you know, but just kicking the ball away, and the ball ended up coming out the Crystal Palace across the gallery. Next thing it's in the top corner. They need to grab hold of this very quickly, Everton, or they're going to find themselves in a serious dogfight. And we always say it, no club is too big to go down. This can happen to any club. But I really think with Everton, I think with Rafa there as well, they started out really, really good, but the boy Demarai Gray looks a little bit lost. Richarlison really isn't putting in a shift for them. Digne, I think, is struggling. Keane, I think, is struggling. They've had a number of significant injuries. Calvert-Lewin is a massive loss, and there's talk of him leaving the club as well. So, huge job for Rafa there to turn that around at the moment. But with the table the way it is, you post a couple of good results over the festive season, and the next thing you're back up in kind of mid-table and stuff like that. But he really needs to grab hold of it quickly, or he's going to find himself in a relegation dogfight. And we know that Newcastle have money to spend, so we would imagine Newcastle are going to be very strong second half of the season when they bring some signings in. Speaking of Newcastle, also banging trouble. Eddie getting absolutely slapped up yesterday by Leicester. But he needs to stay in touch. He needs to give himself a chance and stay in touch come January. So he can go and spend some of this money that we know is floating around and bring in a few players. At times they just look void of ideas, and just the quality around the park just isn't there really for the Premier League. And next up for them is Liverpool at Anfield, and that's going to be a very tough trip. I would expect Liverpool to do a serious number on them there and rack up a real good score. And I just think with Newcastle, I think, bar a sprinkling of talent there, everything else needs a serious overhaul. And maybe Eddie's the guy who's been brought in to do that. But again, he needs to be in touch until January rolls around so he can bring these players in and make a big change. As always, that has been your good, the bad and the ugly. Let us know your thoughts, how you feel about your team and how it's performing. We will be returning soon with the transfer show. We're also going to be covering the Champions League draw 11 a.m. on Monday morning. If you'd like to join us for that, let us know your thoughts, comments, chats. We'll be live, myself and Darren, covering the Champions League draw. Until next time, this has been the Upper Tier Dynamo Podcast Network on YouTube, Spotify for audio versions of the show, and we will chat to you again real soon.